Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to film a quick video sharing my current planning and journaling system, but before I get into it, I wanted to quickly point you to my 2021 planning and journaling system for some context because I will be touching upon some reflections I had from what I used last year and how it kind of informed what I'm using this year. So I'll have that linked in the cards as well as in the description so you can check that out. All right, let's get started. So I'll start with the planners and then we'll move into the journals. Let's start with what I'm using for my personal planning, which is a ring planner, and this has worked really well for me for the past year, so I decided to continue on with it. Last year I was in personal, this year I'm in pocket, but I pretty much am switching between the two depending on which cover I want to use essentially. So this is a Giglio Mia Cara in the pocket size, and this is a gold and green color, so you can see on the inside here it's the green leather. And I'll go into a more detailed flip once I finish setting it up. I like to take an iterative approach to setting my planners up, but essentially it's pretty much the same format and template as my personal rings, which I've filmed a couple of flip throughs. Definitely check those out if you're curious. But I use this for all of my personal planning. So I have like a monthly section, a weekly section. This is basically what I use for my daily to-do lists. And then I have a couple sections in the back for any notes and basically like content, which is video ideas and other journaling ideas. So that's really what I've been using for personal planning. Like I said, it's been working really well for me. And then moving into what I'm using for work planning, June is when I started using this A6 for work. So I have it in a Catspresso floral cover, which I love. And I have a couple of other A6 covers that I switch between as well. But this has been really working well for me for work. So again, I just continued on using it for this year and into my new job. Basically, it's just a blank grid, right? And I use a page per day, and I basically put meetings on the left and then to-dos on the right, and any notes, if I have extra space, I'll put on the bottom, or I'll use a different page. And sometimes I will tip in any extra notes I have as well. So you can see here that basically I had a Rifle Paper Co. notes page that I wanted to keep, so I taped it in, tipped it in, and then you can see my sisters did some pen testing on this page as well. So this is what I've been using for work, and like I said, just works really well for me. I just basically need a daily to-do list. If you hear that noise, it's just my SSD working really hard to get the mic recording, so apologies if you hear that in the background. But anyway, that's what I've been using as my planning system. No qualms about it. We'll continue with the system for this year. And then moving on to my journals, I think journaling is where I've had a little bit of struggle with the systems that I'm using. So last year, just to quickly touch upon what I found from last year, wasn't working for me. So I was in a Hobonichi Cousin last year, as well as the typical 7x9 vertical planner that I've been using for many years now. And theoretically really love the idea of having a Hobonichi Cousin as like super in-depth archive is what Lindsay from Lindsay's Scribbles calls it, and I really like that. It's basically like a chronicle of my life and journaling in the back as well. And then for me, the 7x9 planner with a vertical layout is basically a high level overview of each week, and it has all the pretty kits that I love to use. But what I found, especially towards the second half of the year when things got really overwhelming and busy with work and just took a lot of my mental capacity, was that one, I didn't have much to put down. So there was just a lot of space that basically I had like 3 things to mark every day, and it was getting a little bit stressful to find things to fill out in my planner, which should never be the case because I find that memory keeping and journaling should really be fun, creative, or clarifying. With the Hobonichi and with the TSKP planner, which I was using, you'll see if you flip through like the second half of the year, it's completely blank. That brings me to what I'm using now. I basically saw this week's cover, not visible right now because it's in my Eternal Leather Goods cover, but basically Hobonichi did a collab with this New York-based photographer artist Saul Leader. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but this beautiful cover, I saw it on Roanna's Instagram, immediately fell in love and thought, you know what, I can make this work. And I had been familiar with the weeks from following Lindsay. Love the way that she uses her planners and systems. So that's what I've been using for like an archive, so to speak, which is basically jotting down what I've been doing every day. And it's been working pretty well for me. As you can see, there's, you know, not too much space every day, which works well because my schedule now is not as dynamic as it used to be. Sometimes I have more to put down. Sometimes I have like one thing. Like if you look at this week, it's like one thing per day, which is, it would be hard to fill up like a 7x9 vertical column with one thing per day. I'll just quickly go over the layout of the weeks. Starts out with a year at a glance calendar. It has like a few years in there. And then it has the monthlies, which I have yet to fill out. It goes into the weeklies, and then in the back there are some notes pages, blank notes pages, which is nice. So I've been putting like collection type lists here. So for example, books that I've read, that type of thing. I'll probably put some wish lists, gift lists, that kind of thing in here as well. And then this is in a cover, leather cover by Eternal Leather Goods, which I adore. And this is in, I think, just the brown leather color. So that's what I've been using for weekly memory keeping. And then I have this journal here, which is just a blank dot grid journal that I've had laying around in my storage for, I mean, I got this before I even started my planning Instagram. So long time ago in college, and obviously I got it because of the cover. This is basically me. And I decided, like I said, I wasn't even thinking about, you know, what I was going to use for journaling at the end of last year. So I figured I'd bring this out and actually use it. So this is where I do all of my free form journaling. I'm just going to find, there's some more private journaling in here. So let me find a spread that I am open to sharing. This is a good one. So this is just like random spread I made of Nathan Chen when he won the Olympics. So this is kind of thing that I journal about. Sometimes it's more personal about, you know, things that I'm anxious about, things I'm thinking about. Sometimes it's more lighthearted and fun like this one. I put like song lyrics, what I have in my fountain pens. I do collaging. I do full moon and new moon manifestations and intentions. I have song lyrics. Like, I think this is fun, freeform journaling. And that was one of my favorite parts about the Hobonichi cousin as well, was just the daily pages in the back. And I like this because it's undated, so whenever I want to journal, I can come in here and I won't have any like blank pages from days that I didn't use. Just some quick thoughts from using it for the past couple months. I love the system, but I think for this journal, obviously it wasn't really made for the type of journaling that we do, like bullet journaling. It doesn't completely lay flat, which drives me a little bit crazy, and the binding's not super great, so sometimes the pages fold in a weird way. You know, pages are like super cream colored, which I don't love. I prefer a less cream colored page. Like the Hobonichi is as cream as I want to go. So I'm pretty excited to finish up this journal and move into like a NA5 blank notebook, which I'll probably use. I have a few that I'm thinking of, but I will move into an A5 after I am done with this one. And something else that I like about this as well is that I can still do a vertical layout. I just draw it in and it works really well. I love the way that this turned out. So I can use up my kits that I have a lot of, which are really pretty. And I can also, if I have a really fun week that I want to memory keep in a special way, I can do that in this journal as well. So I like the flexibility of a blank journal. And then with the Hobonichi weeks, it's been working well. Sometimes I do have days where I have a lot that I wish I had more room to put down. Like I stopped on Sunday at the end, even though I had more stuff that I wanted to memory keep, just because I ran out of space. So I think going into next year, or my next journal for like an archive type journaling, I might move into something where I have a little bit more space or flexibility on how much space for each day. So again, maybe like a blank notebook or something like that. I haven't decided yet, but those are just, quick thoughts that I've had for my journaling system so far. All right, so that was a high-level overview of my current planning and journaling system. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you're using this year in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching and for your support, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.